and welcome to Cap at Home. My name is Miss Van, and today I'm going to be walking you through the step-by-step process of drawing a self-portrait. You will need a pencil sharpener, eraser. I like the HI-POLYMER type of eraser, a pen, a ruler, and I have some paper. Today I'm going to just use some printer paper. And then you also need a mirror. There is a mirror, if you can see. I'm going to be working from the mirror right over there. So now I'm going to rearrange the camera so you can see what I'm doing. And then just so you know, this is a two-part workshop. So this following Thursday, so on Thursday today, I'm going to show you how you can add some color to your self-portrait to give it sort of some more depth and a mixed media aspect. So the first step with this part one process here is I'm going to draw some guidelines with my pencil. And that's just going to help make sure that everything in my portrait is symmetrical. So I'm going to use this cross section right here, and I'm going to draw an oval or an egg shape to be my own face. And great. So the next step is to kind of like take a look in the mirror and just sort of add, I'm going to add an oval here to be my upper left arm, and then I'm going to add another oval over here to be my upper right arm. And then you can kind of just connect that to make your neck and shoulders. And at this point, it doesn't matter exactly if everything is perfect, because we're going to fix our lines. Drawing a self-portrait is both an additive and a subtractive process. So you're always going to be adding marks, and as many marks as you add, you're going to erase like probably 2/3 of them. So it's just kind of getting the right shapes as you go along. And so I'm going to add an eyebrow, a couple of eyebrows, and then you don't always think about it, but your eyes are actually in the middle of your skull. So you have this line that kind of goes through the center of your skull from top to bottom, and that's where you're going to put your eyes. We like to think of our eyes as being at the top of our field of vision, so sometimes when we draw them at the top of our heads, and proportionately that's just not where they are. And I kind of am drawing my glasses in here. line up pretty well with your eyes. They just kind of overlap a little bit. So I'm going to draw my ears kind of on the same line. And then this middle line here is where your nose is going to be, and it's a little bit off, but I can still kind of work with it. Add some shape to my face. This is kind of where my cheekbones are. And then I'm going to add my Cupid's bow of my upper lip, which is kind of like an arrow pointing down. And then I am going to start adding in my hair. And it's going to kind of cover where my ears are. Oh, actually no, it's not. I tied it up. I totally forgot. It's warm out, so I tied my hair back. Alright, so you can kind of start to draw another oval to be your forearm. And you'll notice that your face that you're drawing is kind of like a concentration face, I'm going to call it, because you're concentrating really hard on what you're doing. So you might not necessarily be smiling, and you can go back and add a smile later if you want to. But if you're looking at your picture and wondering, gee, why aren't I smiling in my picture? It's because you're copying your concentrating face. Kind of add my chin here. And I think I made my mouth a little bit too low and my nose a little bit too long, so I'm actually going to go back and erase that and fix it. And that is the beauty of working in pencil first. You can kind of correct your mistakes. Add a little bit. There's some shading here. Now I'm going to go in and add my forearms, and I am drawing, so I'm going to kind of start to draw what I'm drawing in the drawing, so you kind of have like multiple layers here of what's going on. Draw the pencil. And then I'm going to draw my resting hand here. And as you can see, I've made a whole bunch of lines that I am not going to keep. That's why we have the eraser. So now I'm going to start to kind of draw my outfit. And I'm going to add the details of my outfit in part 2. So we'll have a chance to do that with watercolor and crayon if you choose to tune in to part 2, which I sincerely hope that you do. And as always, anytime you participate in one of our Cap at Home projects, we really like to see comments or anything that you might make yourself. And it's really all about kind of adding in your details. You're the artist, so you get to choose kind of what parts of your reality you record. Here to kind of hold things down. You also, like, I'm going to wait to do the majority of my erasing after I put down the pen layer, just so that I get to keep most of my lines, because I am going to want most of them. Draw my paper. And I'm actually going to draw a little bit of perspective here because I can see that it's like at an angle just ever so slightly. This is like, it comes in a little bit because I'm looking at it from the reflection. It's about, I would say, 5 feet away. So it's going to be a little bit wider at the picture, in the picture, at like towards my body than it is coming away from it, which is just kind of the way you see it when you're looking at something. If you ever notice when you're looking at something, the shapes just kind of like diverge in on themselves. Like if you're staring down a road, the horizon point is very narrow and the road where you are is very wide. That is your perspective. And I'm going to draw the edge of the table, and I'm going to kind of add the perspective of that as well. Draw some table legs. You just kind of have to trust that it's symmetrical. And when you get there, you know you're actually going to fit where you look like you've gone, even if it looks like a much smaller space. and I can only see two of the legs, but I also can sort of see my own body kind of coming down. This leg is a little bit longer. That's kind of where my mirror ends. So maybe when I add color, I'm going to tape the border, and I'll get more into those instructions next week. But I'm going to leave probably like the bottom inch, like an inch border around the edge. So I'm actually going to draw, I think, that. And that friend does not rain, but mulberries falling onto the tent that I have set up here. I'm really glad that the rain happened, but then I'm also glad that it let up so that I'm able to work outside today because it's really nice out. And alright, so I'm going to add in kind of how I'm sitting. Now I'm going to take my pen and go over the lines that I want to keep in pen. And it's just going to be a more simple line drawing. I'm going to leave some of the pencil shading just because it will add some depth when I go ahead and paint it later. And you'll see, when you work with watercolors, like I'm going to show you in the next video, you really want layers. I mean, it's really easy just to kind of trace your pencil once you have it, because you did all the work already, so you're just kind of tracing the best lines. And you can kind of pay attention to where the folds are in your clothing, because that also makes a really interesting image when you have a lot of really good details. And I'm putting in my thumbnails. And don't feel bad if your portrait doesn't look like mine, because I had to go all the way to art school to kind of get the hang of it. I would say it took me many years to be able to draw a picture this fast. But it all started probably when I was a kid, and I'm like, oh, I really want to be able to draw what I see. Alright, I'm going to erase, I'm going to draw my border, and then I'm going to erase my pencil marks. Mixed media is kind of like it sounds. It's when you use a combination of different materials to make something. So when this is done, it will have pencil, colored pencil, crayon, and watercolor. Sorry, no color pencil, watercolor. I'm doing pencil, pen, crayon, and watercolor. There we have it. I have a few. I forgot to connect myself there. So, here is my drawing. And you'll see it pretty much is just some pen line right now. And I like the Precise V5 Pilot pens. I think you get like a lot of really smooth drawing abilities. Like it's a really nice pen to work with. And I hope you enjoyed my drawing tutorial. And we'll come back to it on Thursday, and we'll add some color. Alright, thanks a lot. Have a good day.